Redditors who lost their job because of a post to a social media platform. What happened? I've recently come into contact with a few people who lost their job over a Facebook-type social media outlet post, and it got me wondering, what kind of jobs take social media posts so seriously? I had to fire someone for one. He was a volunteer firefighter and left for a call which I allowed. 15 minutes later someone showed me his 5-minute-old post of him writing quads, saying something along the lines of, "Sometimes you just need to F off from work." That put him on a final warning. He then left because he said his house was on fire. Then half an hour later his wife tagged him in a photo of him sitting in a kiddie pool in front of his house. The funny thing is, in both cases, if he had simply asked to leave early, I probably would have said yes. Edit. To clarify, this was over different days a few weeks apart and he worked for me, but also volunteered as a firefighter. The fire chief also found out about this and dismissed him from that position as well. This guy had a few issues, needless to say, and honesty was not something with which he was familiar.
I work in a hospital and there was a police shooting in my area a couple of years ago, and multiple officers were brought into our ER. One officer was DOA, and a number of idiot hospital employees posted condolences on their Facebook pages with the name of the officer before the family was officially informed. If memory serves, 7 or 8 employees were rightfully fired for that one.
I once didn't get a job since I don't have Facebook account. Apparently they wanted to see the kind of person I was, and I told them I like my privacy. Edit. This is my first 1K plus comment. Edit 2. And my first gold, thanks. I've walked out of an interview because they wanted my Facebook login. A former colleague of mine posted about how he was going to use up all his sick leave, then quit. He posted it at 9 a.m. He was told he had no more job at 11. If you want to keep a secret, then don't tell it to anyone. Edit. Add on to this because I keep getting the same response. 2 men can keep a secret as long as one of them is dead. I had to fire an employee for a tweet he wrote about a customer. He tweeted, "Customer's full name would be a great name for a gay porn star." I found out about it when the customer's lawyer called me the next day threatening action. Turns out the guy worked for the local newspaper and obsessively searched his name on all social media. What else do you expect with a name like I Suck Men? I've had one employer refuse to hire me because I didn't have a Facebook at the time. Wasn't a HR or social job, it was a fast food joint. That's just a buttered manager with control freak tendencies. They can't stalk you on social media? Guess you aren't trustworthy. I didn't lose my job over a Facebook post, but I recently got someone fired because of one I made. I got a call from my parents last weekend that our older dog had been hit and killed by the newspaper delivery driver for their neighborhood. This younger girl was constantly speeding, 45 plus on a short, residential road, and seen on her phone while driving. Complaints had been made before, but apparently no action was taken. The dog was 13 years old and could barely manage to hobble, so it was clearly a case of the driver going too fast and not paying attention. She even had the audacity to cuss at my dad while he was trying to get the dog off the street. The newspaper company wasn't returning calls to my parents regarding the driver's safety and behavior, so I decided to give them a push in the right direction and made a shaming post on their Facebook page. It got attention and went as viral as a local newspaper's page can get, and they finally got in contact and terminated the driver's contract. Edit. And the comments are exactly why I took down my Facebook post after the issue was resolved. A bunch of armchair lawyers with no context making judgments. I'll go ahead and respond to a few of these points. My parents live in a small town about 2 miles from what could be considered a main road. We've had dogs there for 20 years at this point, and this is the first incident. Our first dog actually did roam all day, like the 4 other dogs that lived in the neighborhood. My parents got an invisible fence once the state took over maintenance of the road, and it got paved, since that meant vehicles other than just neighbors would be driving on it, mail, deliveries, etc. The first dog lived to 16 and had to be put down due to increasingly bad arthritis, even under these dangerous conditions of being allowed off a leash. My point is, this isn't New York or even a suburb, this is a very close-knit small-town neighborhood off the main road, and my parents got an invisible fence as soon as safety became an issue. Regarding why the older dog was off the leash in the road, my dad was taking the 2 dogs for a walk. The younger one, the dog that was hit's son, is 13, but still relatively spry, so he goes off ahead. The older dog is slow and usually waits until they're ahead to leave the yard, and then she catches up. My dad walks them back to the pier at the end of the road, so in total the dogs are unleashed on the actual street for 50 feet. They're never let out of the yard without being on a supervised walk. There aren't any leash laws where my parents live, and having the dogs under verbal control is legal for the area. I looked up the laws because I took this into account after it happened. Regarding the "I hope you're happy for getting the girl fired, she was a dangerous driver anyways." There's no way the dog just surprised her by jumping out in the road with his slow. She was clearly being careless since she didn't hear my dad yelling for the dog either. She deserved to be fired for her driving, not for killing the dog. If the main aspect of your job is driving, you should be good at it and do it safely. This is a neighborhood with children, and she has proven time and again safety is not a priority. Not me, but the company I work for. A prospective employee just passed his interview and was told that all he needs to do is pass a drug test and a physical, and he would start on Monday. The company Facebook guy found the new hire on Facebook, and the guy had just posted 20 minutes after the interview. Shit. Anyone know how to pass a drug test in 24 hours? Edit. The guy's job is not Facebook guy. He is the social media marketing and customer service guy. Promotes the business, talks with people and posts to social media websites. When will people learn? You go to Reddit for advice like that, not Facebook. I was younger and an idiot. I posted something on Facebook about wanting to go home and play The Sims, so I could create telecommunications store I work for on it and then slowly kill off all the customers. I was working a late night shift in a mall and forgot our new coworker had added me on Facebook days before. Relevant. Props on remembering an Onion article from 15 years ago. Can I have your brain? Joined a games studio alongside a guy who just finished his philosophy degree. He felt that the game's official forums were the best place to discuss whether disabled people would be of as much value as pigs after a post-apocalyptic event and if they should be simply slaughtered and eaten. All using his company account, of course. I used to work for Geek Squad in college, and a coworker was fired when a famous actor came in, and she posted on Facebook a lot of his private info. Like full name, came into our store and bought this and this, and has a black Amex card and stuff he had on his computer not once, but on 2 separate occasions. That's a special kind of stupid. She could have got herself and the company into a lot of trouble. Not me, but a girl on my Facebook worked for the postal service in my town. She posted on Facebook how she wanted to slit her boss's throat and went into some gory details. Then, about 5 hours later, she posted another status about how the feds showed up at her house and that one of her coworkers had showed her boss the status and she was now fired. She's obviously really dumb and trashy. I posted my Facebook status about how big of dickhead my boss is and tagged him. He fired you for that? What a dickhead. I had the courtesy to tag him. I would have been like, damn, this kid tagged me, I respect that. A company I worked for had it written into their 7-page contracts that you were not allowed to even reference said company on social media. Anyone in breach would be fired instantly. There's a page on Facebook called We Hate that's currently one of the world's biggest corporate hate pages. It all started when someone working in our call center posted online about how much the customers suck. Then began something of a war between the staff and customers posting on employees' walls, and vice versa. The company is a major player in its market, essentially had a monopoly, and there was a noticeable drop in sales that year. All in all, around 20 people were fired. Edit. I'm from the UK, so not Comcast. I didn't work in the call center either, but everyone knew everyone else. Also, I don't know what the story is, but holy shit, this Convergys company sounds bollocks. Worked at GameStop until 2010. The store was in a mall, and parents would always leave their kids in the store and go do their shopping. Sometimes the children would cry, sometimes they'd pee themselves, even had one number 2. Parents would get mad at us for not bringing them to the bathroom, what the shoot. Or start screaming at their kids for not just playing games for a few hours without causing any problems. I tweeted about how the store wasn't there to babysit children and never really thought about that tweet again. Until few months later, same thing. Parent drops kid off in store, leaves. 20 minutes later, an older-looking guy is outside the store on his flip phone, aiming it at the store. He's creeping me out, but I continue offering pointless warranties to customers while waiting for my next break, and then, I noticed him walk near the entrance of the store and ask that kid where his parents are. This seemed really fishy and the guy looked beyond suspicious. I was thinking he could be a pedophile, and I was right. He gets the kid to go with him. I call up mall security so they could check it out, and they caught him before he left the mall. He was arrested. The kid was crying, asking for his mom, who mall security could not reach because, as it turns out, she went to some stores outside of the mall area and she didn't actually come back for another 2 hours, at which point she threatened to sue me, GameStop, the mall, etc. Security guard lady told her that child services were called. They all walked away. That was the last time I saw them. Few days later, district manager, DM, shows up in store, and I was fired on the spot because that lady made a complaint. DM found my Twitter and informed me that my approach to yesterday's dilemma and my tweet about how GameStop isn't a babysitting service has made them believe that I don't have the GameStop spirit. Both the manager and district manager told me I could use them as a reference on my resume though, which was great until they both lost their jobs a few weeks later. Like, comment, and share. Reddit Story Topper. Subscribe now.